I don't want to monopolize the time of this call, but I want to share something that you articulated in your lesson, and Miziel and you were so in sync with the way that he picked up on things you said and so on and so forth. So I will say this very fast, but I really want to tell you, everything you guys are saying is true. It works. And here's all I want to tell you. If you use your imagination in your life and you believe that nothing is impossible, especially if you know the Creator, God, that it all comes from Him, that we can change. You know, our life can change overnight. We can be the worst human being in the world, but then have an epiphany one day because of one single experience we have when we meet the right person or something, the switch gets turned on. But here's what I want to tell you. When I was a little boy, I read all the time. I had a room just like John, and the darkness was there. In my room, gosh, back in the 1950s, they used a dark brown as a room color. Now, you think about psychologically what growing up in a dark brown room can do for you. And the shadows were awful. But I had to lay there with these shadows and you know, the violence that was going on in my home, the yelling and the screaming before my parents got divorced and these kind of things. So anyway, I read all the time. And one of my very first interests that I had was the explorers, the great Spanish explorers. You know, the ones that, you know, Magellan and Ponce de Leon, all the people that explored. And, anyway, so here's what I want to tell you. Meriwether Lewis and Clark, Lewis and Clark expedition, the Louisiana Purchase, the settlement of the United States as it expanded from the East Coast and it acquired all the land toward Louisiana and went on. This has always been my passion, to be able to see new lands and to just explore and meet new people. Well, part of the journey that I'm on is when I travel to North Dakota, that Lefford got me in with John Hagen to go there, and the JPEG, and that the state of North Carolina is backing me for my content because they think that people in prison should be listening to the way that I encourage and present, and that it would be good for them. And when they gave the term binge listening to Steve, that makes me laugh because, hey, I like to talk, but I like to communicate and share. But what I'm doing when I go on this trip, I'm going to be driving almost another 7,000 miles. I'll be leaving on April the 26th, and I'm going to go from Norfolk, Virginia to Bismarck, North Dakota. I'm going to go through Little Bighorn in Montana. Then I'm going to go back to a prison in Oregon that I was at last summer that wants me back. And then I'm going to be with my daughter and her family in Oregon. Then I'm going to drive back, you know, through Colorado. I'm taking a big journey. But I am going to be listening to audible books of two things. On the way to North Dakota, I'm going to listen to Crazy Horse and Custer, the 20-hour story of those two people in history as I go to Little Bighorn. And then on the way back, I'm going to be listening to Undaunted Courage. But both of these books are by Stephen Ambrose, and it's a 21-hour story of everything with Meriwether Lewis and Thomas Jefferson and Sacagawea, the Indian guide, and the people that were behind the Louisiana Purchase, the Lewis and Clark expedition. But I'm telling you, I'm 66 years old, and I first became interested in these things when I was 8 years old, 58 years ago. And it's never left me because I've always seen it. That's what you're teaching, is to have imagination, have desire, have a yearning to learn more and to experience more. And it will happen if you never give up your dreams.
Something that I learned, Steve, is that the why, your reason to be doing things, is not something that we just say, I'm going to do this because. It's something that you discover, and you discover when you're growing, you discover raising your awareness. Basically what we do right now is just helping us and helping you raise your awareness to discover your why. I believe you already discovered your why, but many people in that situation, when they know the reason to be doing things, they put their dreams to the side of their pocket instead of putting their pocket to the side of their dreams. I'm not saying that the economy is easy for everyone, but I'm saying that we are responsible for our situation. We need to stop blaming the government, stop blaming the economy, stop blaming the bank, stop blaming the issues that we have in 2008. No, we are the ones that govern our lives. And the reason because we raise our awareness is because we can find the solution to everything around us. We have everything inside us. We just need to find and how we can bring that to that moment, to right now, to be able to take the next step. And you bring in history, you bring in all those stories. It's just a different way to saying what we've been saying on the last few calls, on the last few lessons. No, everything is inside you. You just need to discover the reason because you want to bring that out. Either is to help others or to help yourself. If it's to help yourself, it's okay. You cannot give something to others if you don't have it first. I want to help a lot of people. I want to help a lot of people to be rich. I want to donate a lot of money. But if I don't have any money, how am I going to donate the money? I have to create that stability for me, for myself first. Then I can help others to create it. Of course, in the process, I can help a lot of people. Why not? But it's something that we need to raise our awareness to that level to be able to do all that.
I totally agree with you, John. And one of the things that Steven was saying about we all can create what we want. And the majority of people, and that's what we've been talking about in these past two lessons, is that the majority of us get the opportunity to think in a certain way. We get to have that moment and that clarity in our head, but where we don't advance or we stop is in the moment that we begin to act in a certain way. Because what it does in that moment is when everything comes to place and say, you know what? We are attached to the how. How are we going to make it happen instead of attaching ourselves to the what and why. Why do I want to do this and why do I want to do this? And then the how will work out sometimes somehow, some way. But this is what happens. A lot of us, we are limited by the programming that we have been receiving all of our lives. And that is the reason for our program. Our program is to help those individuals and those people that are out there battling those limited beliefs, that they can have what they want as long as they are capable of suspending the requirement of knowing how. When they suspend the requirement of knowing how to do things, things will change for them. Because they will be able to think in a certain way, but also to act in a certain way. They will be able to put on that suit that they want, how they want to perform in the future. And that's exactly what the journey that we're taking on every single day. That's what we do in this journey. And you know what is funny? I was talking to my wife yesterday, and we were talking, and it's a few projects that we have in mind and a few ideas. And the more that she shares with me, the more I see her vision coming to fruition. But this is the point. I say to her, do me a favor and write it down. Write it down, put it on paper and read it every day. That way you're more connected with that desire that you have. Because if you just leave it out in the open, and if you don't get to touch base with that every single moment, then you're gonna lose it out. You're gonna lose out the touch that you have with that. But if you write down your vision, and as you write it down, you also improve it every single time. One of the things that I do is every morning, on Monday morning, every morning, I go to my vision statement and I look it up. And I go over and I say, oh, maybe this has changed because now my vision has grown. I see things different now. And I change it right away. I'm improving my vision statement on the 5 areas of my life as I go every single day. Every single week I make a change on that vision statement. I encourage everybody in the call and those that are listening in the recording to take this as a challenge and do that every single week on a Monday or a Tuesday, whatever day works for you, but challenge yourself to improve that vision statement, because that's the only way that things are going to start improving on your life as well. The better that you get, the better that you want, the more that you want, right? So I just wanted to add that into what we're talking here.
Shit. Yeah, but you know, there's different consciousness, different mental levels of what we're dealing with, and some people, they're stuck in the physical. That's why one of the greatest things that you have based a lot of your lessons on is that we are really spiritual beings with a physical experience, having a physical experience. That's so beautiful. Mm-hmm. See, it's my hope that if people are exposed to you guys and more of what I testified to, the way life works for me, that they might give it a try, you know?
Hey, wow. One of the thoughts on there was the adding value and actually having self-awareness. One of the things that I've learned in my life, and I learned this because I messed up a lot, to be quite frank, is that there were many times that I was standing right in the middle of the right place at the right time, and I was messing up because I wasn't really aware. I wasn't aware of myself. Oftentimes I thought I was doing things poorly, and I was actually doing things pretty good. And then there was other times that I thought I was doing things pretty good, and I wasn't really doing that because I didn't put myself in a situation or around the right people that can help me evaluate myself. So that's one of the reasons that I think being a part of a community of like-minded people is so very helpful. I spoke earlier of being a part of a mastermind alliance with this group of people and going through the Napoleon Hill program, and that's one of the biggest things out there is being in a mastermind alliance where other people are looking after you and being a part of your life, and their sole desire is to help you get better. And your sole desire is to help them also get better. Steve, one of the things that we talked about was many people don't get what they want. They have a wish for something, but they don't really have a burning desire. And there's a huge difference between wishing on a star and actually having a burning desire. In my favorite book, it says that faith without works is dead, right? So if you're just wishing for something, but you're not putting in the work to get it, what's the real chance of you actually getting it? And that's just one of the things that, you know, I picked up from the show, that if I could just sit with somebody for a little bit of time and just go through a process to say, if you really, really want it, what are you willing to do to go get it? Because I believe that we're equipped. I think that we're blessed. I think God has given us everything we need. It's right there for us to go out there and grab.
Lefford, let me throw something at you. John, on the first half of the show that we just listened to, it was mostly John and I know that you were listening, and then Fabio came on a little bit later. And John said some amazing things. I'll just throw a couple of them out there. I love this. He said, remember the future. Remember your future. And that is so deep, although it seems so simple. You know, you gotta have goals and start dreaming and keep your eye focused on the dream. Did you like the way he throws that at us?
I did, and the thing I especially like about that is it does not sound intuitive. It does simple. What do you mean, remember your future? Remember your future is basically, as you said, I have a dream, I have a goal, and if you look at it like that, it's already been done, so go for it. Many people don't set their goals. Like, I think what we do is we kind of wander through life trying to figure it out, not knowing that we've already won. One of the things, you and I've talked about this many times, what is the ultimate thing that we want to do? With Designing Your Empowered Year, we're trying to help people achieve all their dreams. With Right Thinking Foundation, you're trying to help the returning citizens. But at first, you went out there and said, this is what I'm going to do. I don't think I've ever heard you say, this is what I want to do. You're saying, this is what I'm going to do. This is